Okay. So initially I jumped into the Salesforce account. Now what I am doing is to develop anything, what we can do, we need to open a developer console. I am opening developer console in a new tab. Okay. So once you go to developer console, there you'll be having debug option. If you click on debug, there you can see open execute anonymous window. So it is an anonymous window without saving a code. If you want to run something or if you want to know something in a Salesforce, we can take help of this anonymous window. So in a in Apex programming language, single line comments are written with double slashes. Okay. So comments are nothing but the things which you want to write for your understanding purpose in a code. So single line comments written like this. Whereas multiple line comments, if you want to write, you can start with this symbol, multiple line. So like this, you can write comments in multiple lines. And we need to close with the star slash. So you can remember these two things. So comments are nothing but, so if you execute this code also, it won't impact your code. It is for users readability purpose only, or programmers readability purpose only will use comments. Okay, so now in today's session, we'll see concept called primitive data types in an Apex. So if you consider any programming language, in every programming language, we'll be having primitive data types. So coming to the Apex, primitive data types are Boolean, string, the next will be having integer, double, the next will be having decimal, after decimal we'll be having date, time, date time id, blob. These are the basic data types present in Apex. Okay, so I think did I mention long, int, double, decimal, long I forgot. Okay, these are the basic data types present in Apex. So if you want to explore these data types, or if you want to understand data types morely, what you can do, you can type this thing, data types in Apex. I think yesterday we opened that data type Apex reference guide. I'm going to the documentation directly. You can see here data types. In the data types, what is data types? He explained clearly. And the next, if you click on primitive data types, you'll see all the primitive data types and which purpose will use which primitive data type. And he most of the times he'll specify an example as well. Okay, you can see this document so that you'll understand clearly. So prior going to this documentation, I'll explain you the basic data types. Okay, so now we'll start with the first data type, and we'll see how to store the data into the variables. Yesterday I told you Apex is a static programming language. It means to define a variable, the structure will be, first we need to specify a data type. First we need to specify data type. The next variable name. After specifying variable name equals to, we need to specify a value. It is a structure to store a value into some variable. Okay, it is a structure. So now what I'll do is I want to define variable with all these data types. Okay, string, let's suppose I'm creating variable with the name greeting. In this variable, I want to store value so whenever you want to define a string, you need to write a value in a quotations. Now I'll write Hello, welcome to
Yes.
session. Yes, any doubts?
No, Yaku.
Thank you. So now I defined a variable with the name hello world. So sorry, I defined a variable with the name greeting and I stored a value in this variable. Now, if you want to look at the value corresponding to this, what we can do? So if you want to display something in an output, here we'll be having debug statement. So to debug that, we'll be having system dot debug. So with this, we can display some output. So now in a comment, whatever the comment you want to display, you can write that comment in a quotations. So string value is, let's suppose I want to add this additional text before the value. String value is, and whatever the text you want to add, you can use a plus symbol. With this plus symbol, what I'll do is I'll add this greeting. Remember, in Apex programming language, always we need to use semicolon to terminate the line. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to execute this portion only. Now I'm clicking on execute highlighted. So whenever you click on execute highlighted, if you go to logs at the bottom, one log file will be generated. So if you want to see the output, you can open that log file. So it will give entire transactional data. As we won't need this entire transactional data as of now, so that's why I'm going with debug only. So whatever the debug statements you keep, all those debug statements will comes under this debug only option. So if you check this debug only option, you can see whatever the debug statements you kept in a code. So you can see string value is, this is the text we kept prior to variable value, and here it is displaying variable value. Similarly, we'll define all the data types. So the next data type is like a boolean, let's suppose.
Yaku burned out.
Yes, tell me.
So for a string, we using single quote, right? Can we use a double quote for putting a string inside?
Okay, we'll try this now. So I'll copy paste same thing, making it control V. I'll keep a double quote and I'll want to end with a double quote. So if you go to strings Apex developer guide, you'll find that. So as it is not recognizing, it means in this way we won't define. In this way it won't understood. If you execute it also,
Okay.
you'll get an error. Okay. So in Apex, always you should define a string in single quotations. Remember. Okay. So now I'm defining a variable like a Boolean variable I want to define. Am I ready? So, true. So Apex is a case insensitive programming language. Apex is a case insensitive programming language. Means if you define variable with a small case letters and if you want to access it with a capital letters also, it will accept. So here I said, am I ready, right? So now let's suppose while printing it, while displaying the output, let's suppose system dot debug. If I say, am I ready? So here I specified capital letters I and R, right? But while accessing it, I am trying with the only small case letters. We'll check whether it will works or not. As it is not throwing any errors means, so there is no difference between small case letters and uppercase letters. That's why I'm saying this programming language as a case insensitive programming language. It means there is no difference between small case letters and uppercase letters on a defining a variable. Remember, on defining a variable only. Whereas coming to the strings, that is a different data type. They will store a different data. At the time, it may vary. I'll show you that while discussing strings concept briefly. So now, after Boolean data type, we'll be having integer data type. So coming to the integer data type, let's suppose I'll say number. So I want to store some number 123. So in this way, we can store, we'll display all the values in a single place. Initially, we'll define all the data type. Long So long is a data type which is used to store bigger integers. So coming to the integer, let's suppose it will take 4 bytes of memory. So if you want to store a bigger value, so at the time you can go with the long value. Let's suppose I want to store world population. So coming to the world population, it's a huge value. So integer won't be enough to store the value. Let's suppose 32145897880. So after at the end we need to add character L. So if you add character L means it will understand like it is a long integer. After long integer we'll be having decimal data type. The purpose of decimal data type is to store the decimal value. Okay, so let's suppose I'll say decimal pi equals to 3.1414. Okay. Then next, similarly, coming to the decimal values also, if you want to store bigger decimal values, we'll take help of double data type. So coming to the double, so you can say, let's suppose I want to calculate light speed. Let's suppose I want to calculate speed equals to, let's suppose I'll say 5 by 18. Okay. Let's suppose like I wrote this variable. So these are the primitive data types. Now what I want to do is I want to see the output corresponding to each and every variable. So for that what we can do, we'll take help of system.debug statements. So system.debug. I'll copy paste this line so that I can use it now. Okay. I'll add some text in it. So if you want to display something, int integer plus. So what is the variable you want to display? Like I now want to display the value corresponding to number. So I'm keeping it here. So now we need to terminate the line with a semicolon. So now again I'll copy paste it. 2, 3. Three variables only we define now. So now in place of integer here I'll replace with a long. So long the variable name is world population, right? Integer the next double. So what is the variable? I think I'm getting echo from
System.
okay. So now again so from where I'm getting
System.
which system?
No, system is the kind of spelling mistake is that system.
Okay, sorry, yeah. Okay. So now last I want to display decimal value as well. So variable name is pi. Okay. So now what I'll do is I'll select this portion and I'll execute this portion. So nothing is missing. There's no errors. Log file is generated. You can double click on log. Log will be open, and you'll see the output for each and everything. Okay. So it's about the basic data types. Clear? Now we'll see the advanced data types. Not advanced data type, we can say. This is also primitive data types. The purpose of this primitive data types is like for this we need to create an object. So for that we need to initialize that object. That is like a time object if you consider, or a date you consider. All those are like a basic data types only, but defining those data type is bit different. You can see, like, if you walk through this documentation, you'll understand the variables, how to define that, and how to display the value for those variables. It is a long object. So object data types we can define in a different way. So did he explain the other data types like time, date, time? I think he did not. Okay, we'll see. Okay, I'll search time here so that we'll get. As I know directly, I can define, but you should understand, na? Like if you're stuck somewhere, you need to dig it into and you need to understand it, right? That's why I'm searching in this developer documentation. Okay, I'll type. So time data type. So time class Apex reference guide. I'm going to this one. So all these things are classes now. Like if you consider time or date time, everything will becomes under this classes. And how to define it and how to store a value in it and what are the different methods available in this. You can see that stuff here. So for more information on time data type, so you can use time data type. In this time data types, we'll be having these methods. So from the time, if you want to fetch the add hours means you can add specific amount of hours to the time. Add milliseconds, add minutes, add seconds. So if you want to get a hours from a time, you'll take help of hour function. Milliseconds, you can take help of milliseconds. Like that, we can fetch all these values. But prior to these, you need to know how to define the time. Okay. So the structure of defining a time is like this. So here time is the data type. To define or to store the value in this data type, class name dot new instance. Here in the time we need to specify hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds. These all are the values we need to specify in the time module. So now I'll define it and I'll show you so that you'll get an hands on this. I'll increase the size of the window. Perfect. Yeah. So now we need to define a time data type. I'll say time equals to time t. Let's suppose t is my variable. Time dot we need to take help of new instance method to create a new instance. So to define a time, initially we need to specify hour. So let's suppose I'll say like 8 hours, 20 minutes, 40 seconds, 10 milliseconds. Let's suppose if you want to define a time, you can define time like this. Now I'll copy paste, sorry, system.debug. T. Let's suppose I want to debug a time. Now I'll execute it. Sorry. Okay. So I need to execute highlighted portion only. So one log file is generated. So you can see it is giving a time like 8:20, 40 minutes, 10 seconds. Z means time zone information. It's giving that information. Okay, so now for this time, I want to add 2 hours and we'll see what happens if we add. So now again, I'm going to developer console, debug. So I don't know anything. So if you don't know anything, what you can do, you can go to this one and you can see this developer documentation. Here you'll see methods. Add hours, how to use this method. So now what I'll do is I'll take help of add hours method. So now I want to open it in a new tab so that I'll understand. I'll see the example as well most of the times. So now you can see my time, expected time. My time dot means variable dot add hours. So for this time, Now here we define time now with the variable t we define. Now what I'll do is I want to add 3 hours to the time. System dot, directly I want to see it in output. System dot debug. So t means time dot add hours is a method. So how many hours you want to add? I want to add 3 hours. So the spelling should be perfect if you are defining any method or something. Okay, now I'm executing this. It's executed. One log file is generated. I want to show you this. Sorry, not executable. Debug only. You can see. So previously it is 8. Now it becomes 11:20. Like that, you can use remaining all the methods of this class, like add hours, add minutes, add milliseconds. Every functions will be available. Let's suppose from the time, if you want to take hours, let's suppose if you are writing some code, at the time you required only hour value in a code. At the time, what you can do, you can take help of har method. So if you don't know how to use this method, what you can do, you can open it in a new tab so that you'll see how to use this method even. So time variable name dot add hours is the different now. Sorry. Yeah. So you can see variable name where he explained add hours only to the okay. So here where it is. Again, I opened that stuff up. Okay, I'll be back. I'm coming back. So now in this, I want to open our method. So he can see. So in this thing, only at the bottom, he mentioned most of the things. So second means you can fetch the seconds. Let's suppose I want to fetch hour only. So you can go through the developer document. You'll understand. Now I'll try it here. So now from this, I want to display only hour. So what I can do is Control C, Control V, T dot har function I can use. So if I use R function, it will give only hours from the time. So now what I'll do is I'll execute this now. So you can see the new log file is generated. If you go to debug only, you can see the thing. So from this time you are getting hours only 8:20 now. From 8:20 hours are nothing but 8. Okay, so in this way you can explore and you might get confused for this 8 hours we added 3 hours now, the time should be 11, why it is giving 8. See, remember here what we did is just we applied the function. After applying the function we are not storing that result anyway. So here you can see time equals to we are storing some variable and that variable we are displaying initially. And here also we are applying add hours function, but we are not storing that value somewhere. So let's suppose if you want to store this value, let's suppose if you want to modify the value of t time with this value, what you can do is you can use this stuff. T equals to t dot add hours means we are adding 3 hours to the time and we are updating that variable. But here we are not updating. That's why at the bottom in this line, hours means it is showing this 8 only. Understood? So if you want to update the same variable, you need to use this additional line. So the purpose of this additional line is like we are updating a variable value. Whereas if you don't want to update the variable value and if you want to store it in a new variable, what you can do is, let's suppose if I want to store it in a new variable, time t2 equals to means in a t2 variable I am storing another time value. So previously we are having 8, right? Now I'm making it to 11. So that 11:20 result I need to store in another variable. In this way you can store it in another variable. Any doubts on this?
No,
It's very, very important. Remember, okay, I'm keeping it as is. So if you want to see the output of this thing also, you can debug it. System dot debug T2. You can debug it. Now I'll execute from this portion. This portion only I'll execute. Log file is generated. Debug only. So you can see T2 means it is giving 11, 20, 40. And if whenever you want to see the output of that, it will give that output only. Like that, what you can do is please explore all the functions and how he specified and what are the parameters corresponding to each and every data type. And if you take help of, see, coming to the primitive data types, I explained you a lot of data types now. Date data type, date. So as of now, we saw time now. So coming to the time, the structure will be, I'll go to anonymous window. So coming to the time data type, structure will be hour, minute, second, milliseconds. Now, similarly, for the date also will be having structure. So coming to the date, structure will be, what will be the structure? Year, month, same structure. Like whenever you want to define this data type, I'll show you this one. Date is a keyword. So I want to specify today's date. I'm defining variable like this. The next date dot new instance of. So it is also another class, new instance of. So now in this we need to specify year first. Let's suppose 2024, comma, month next. Month means I'll specify 3. The next date. Let's suppose what is today's date? 18. Okay, I define this thing. So now I want to see the result of this. System dot today. Sorry, system dot debug today. So like this, you can display. So you can execute this highlighted one. So how many times you run this debug log, that many tabs we are opening here. So remember, like after you using some tab, if you want to close that history, you can cross check this box so that that previous history will be gone. Okay. So you can see in this way, we can define a time, sorry, date time. So like if you want to explore this date class Apex. So you can go through this. You can see all the methods available of this as well. However, we suffer time. Similarly, you can see the examples also. Okay. So can you able to explore this thing, date, date time and everything, and try to explore the formulas available in this. Just what you need to do is you can click on method so that it will give you example. Though if you're not comfortable with clicking on method, what you can do is you can scroll down, you can see the examples. So you can see how to define an instance for a date and what are the different methods, what are the different methods available, and he's explaining everything with the test annotations, that is asset equals. Asset equals is a method which is used to compare whether your function is working correctly or not. Give me a minute. Is yeah. So asset equals to is a statement which is used to compare whether, like whatever you're expecting, whether whatever the variable you're taking, that is meeting the requirement or not. So here if you consider this small example, here he is initializing a date. After initializing a date, what he is doing is he is creating another variable with the date data type, and he is adding add month. He is using add months method, and he is adding 3 months, and he is storing that result in new date. Now, date expected. So expected date means, so it should be, so if we add 3 months to 1990-11, it should be 1991 and first month, right? Sorry, 3 means 11, 12, 1, 2. So second month, right? Second month and 21. What he is saying is expected date should be comes like this, whether it is, and he is comparing with the asset equals to method, he is comparing expected date with the new date. Understood this example?
Yes. So the return type will be true or false, right?
Yeah, asset equals method returns always value in the form of Boolean expression. It will give you whether the expression is true or false. As you can copy that and you can execute it here. Open execute anonymous window. Like that, you can explore all the methods and you can explore stuff. Okay, so 1990, 11, 21. Now I want to execute this highlighted portion only. So now new log file is generated. So now debug again. Should give now system dot asset statement we use it, right? Okay, I'll see. It should come in a debug only. Let's get this portion on now. Log file is generated. Okay, it is not considered like a debug statement.
Or do we need to print it separately?
Haha, no need. So it will display now, total output it will display. We'll check for that. Expected date, false, variable scope, heap size, statement context. So we'll see somewhere true or false. So expected date, it is giving like this one, yes. Default, this queries will not perform anything. It will be available in this log somewhere. You need to check that. So slowly you can check it later and you can observe that. So far, any doubts on the primitive data types?
No, Yakub.
So in this way, what you can do is don't try to by heart anything. Simple, try to remember the syntaxes. How we are defining variable, how we are storing the value in it. So if it is a complex data type, means a date or date time or date time. So how we need to define it. So if you want to define this kind of complex data types, what we can do, we can define data type name, new instance of, in the structural format, you can specify the value. And if you don't know all the functions on this, you can go to the developer guide. From there, you can find all the methods and you'll see the syntax as well. So how, if you want like how to use these functions, you can use on the specific way. In this way, you can learn much concepts. Okay. So shall we start a string methods concept today or shall we start it tomorrow?
I mean like list and all, right? Collection.
Yeah, like for the collections also will be having method. Prior to that, in a string class also will be having methods. Like how to capitalize a string, how to check whether both the strings are same or not. Like that, we'll be having a lot of methods in a strings also. How to capitalize a string, how to convert entire string into lowercase. Like that, we'll be having string functions.
Yeah, we'll
So,
go tomorrow.
so what you can do is prior to that, so you can explore this documentation page, string class apex. So here you'll be get a developer guide. Try to practice these methods so that I'll walk through it quickly tomorrow. Okay, make sense?
Okay.
Can you able to search it, or do I need to forward these links?
Yeah, we can browse.
So you should have hands-on on this, how to access these things, so that it will be helpful to you in a real time. Okay. Any
Yeah, okay.
doubts? Can I forward you this snippet, code snippet?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll forward you in WhatsApp. No worries.
Sure.
Okay then. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.